My name is Hannah, and I'm a 23 years old housewife. My husband Ted is 2 years older than me, 25. We were originally seniors and juniors in college, met at a club party, and hit it off. After a period of friendship, we started dating, and he proposed to me the year I graduated from college. I was in love with him, so of course I said yes. I was so excited to be able to marry the man I loved that I would have a happy married life. However, reality was not so sweet. After our marriage, we moved in with my in-laws, and my mother-in-law hated me from the very beginning. My mother-in-law would tell me that she was not able to eat the food that I cooked because it was so bad. She says, "You can't even get broth." She would go out of her way to find dust in the corner of the room or the dirt on the windowsill after I had cleaned, and would tell me that they were still dirty and that I should clean them slowly. She just didn't seem to like anything I did, and she was always complaining about it. If that was all, I would have thought that I was just not good enough. However, my mother-in-law would ignore me when I tried to talk to her. When we order food, she always misses one portion.
"There's one portion missing for Hannah."
"Oh no! I had inadvertently forgotten that Hannah is here." It would have been better if my father-in-law had noticed it like this. Often I have no choice but to prepare something else myself. It couldn't have been careless mistakes because it happened so often. So I asked Ted for his advice. "Hey Ted, do you think your mother dislikes me?"
"You worry too much. There's no way that my mother, of all people, would dislike you."
Ted sounded like he was bothered by my question. "Really? The other day she forgot to order the food for me again." I tried to prove my point, but he said,
"It was just a coincidence. You're going to have a long relationship with her from now on, so do it well."
With that, he ended the conversation. Then one day, my mother-in-law pushed me as we passed each other. "Oh my God! I had no idea there was such a big piece of trash here. It's in the way, so I want to throw it away." I looked at my mother-in-law's face, who looked at me like I was stupid. Then I was convinced that my mother-in-law had been nasty to me on purpose all along. From that day on, she began to verbally abuse me whenever Ted and my father-in-law were not present. When I talked to Ted about it, he told me about what I asked him the other day.
"I talked to Mom that you thought she didn't like you. She was very sad to hear that."
Was it because of his insensitive remarks that her abuse has gotten worse? I was convinced, and then he added,
"You're too paranoid. Don't talk about this anymore. You're such a pain in the ass,"
and ended the conversation. And after that day, Ted started to come home late, saying that he had to work overtime. About 6 months later, I found a lipstick stain on his shirt when he came home. I suspected that he was having an affair. This was the first time I found something that could be used as evidence. "Ted, what is this?" When I asked him,
This..."
My husband muttered some words, and he finally admitted to cheating on me with a junior colleague at work. I can't believe he was having fun with another woman while his mother abused me. When I accused him, he said it was my fault for not being an attractive wife and got mad at me. Witnessing such a selfish attitude, I realized my love for him has quickly died. After that, I could not forgive him, so I decided to divorce him and return to my parents' home. My mother-in-law and Ted were not convinced that I wanted to divorce for just one affair and complained. However, thanks to my father-in-law's effort to keep them under control, the divorce was successfully finalized. I was also able to receive alimony from Ted and his cheating partner. It has been 20 years since my divorce from Ted. I got married again and had 3 children with the best person I could have ever met. My oldest son is 18 this year, My second is 16, and my third son is 14. My husband and I have a great marriage, and raising 3 teenage boys with endless appetite is a challenge. But I'm leading a fulfilling and happy life. Then one day, I receive a call on my cell phone from an unknown number.
Hello, Hannah? It's me, Ted.
Ted? What do you want? I was surprised that he was calling me out of the blue. How did he find out my phone number in the first place?
Don't be so cold. We were married once, weren't we? We used to get along so well, and I thought we could start all over again.
No. Have you forgotten how we ended? Besides, I'm already married. There's no way I'm getting back together with you. It's gross even to think about it. I hung up the phone and immediately blocked his phone number. I was surprised at the sudden action of trying to get back with me. I refused him once and for all, so I thought that would be the end of it. However, he took an outrageous action that I had not expected. A few days later, while I was cooking, the doorbell rang. I stopped cooking to go take a look, but the doorbell rang again, followed by a banging sound on the door.
Hannah, I know you are there. Hurry up and open the door.
What are you doing keeping us waiting? Ted and his mother. They are banging on the door and yelling loudly. It was so loud that the neighbors came out of their houses to see what was going on. How could they possibly know where I live? I was terrified by their visit and felt a rush of blood.
Leave your husband and marry me again, and give me back my alimony.
Hannah, who will take care of your father if you don't? He took care of you for a long time, so don't be so stubborn and come home. Hearing the commotion, my sons came out of their rooms.
What's going on, Mom? Are they calling your name? Are they your ex-husband and mother-in-law you've divorced? We'll go check it out, Mom. Go rest in the back. We're working out, don't worry.
With that, my sons went out of the front door.
Who are you? Where's Hannah? What do you want from our mother?
Eventually, the noise turned into screams. I became worried and went to check on them. There I found my sons holding Ted and my mother-in-law down. Don't overdo it with regular people. You guys are in the judo club and the rugby club.
I know. We are going easy on them. They'll be fine.
I knew my boys were strong, so I wasn't worried about them getting beat up. Rather, I was worried that they might injure my ex-husband and his mother. My son let go of his hand after I told him to, and Ted, who was released, seemed to be in pain.
Ouch! How dare you hurt me! I won't let you get away with it. I'm calling the police. Call them if you want.
Ted then called the police with a phone in his hand. A few minutes later, a police car arrived and police officers rushed to the scene. Ted and his mother cried out to the police officers.
When I came to talk to my ex-wife, these guys beat me up. They assaulted us.
I was scared because I was suddenly surrounded by 3 muscular men. Officer, do something about it. Arrest these kids.
Hannah, is that really what happened? Huh?
One of the police officers called me by name, so both Ted and his mother looked puzzled. My ex-husband and his mother came to my house, banging on the door and making a scene. So these kids went to check on them.
Dad, we just held down these 2 guys because they were acting up. We didn't do anything more than that.
That's right. One of them who came in response to Ted's call was my current husband, who is a police officer. When Ted and his mother realized that the policeman was my husband, Ted said,
Hey, that's not fair. Just because it was your son who violated us, you were trying to make us the bad guys. That's a misuse of power, and you won't get away with it.
They started to fuss over it again. Of course, my husband believed his sons. But it is true that both sides have different opinions. So he couldn't just take Ted and his mother away without any reason. As my husband was thinking about what he should do to avoid being accused of misuse of power, The neighbors who had been watching the whole scene spoke up.
Your sons are right. It was these two making noise and causing trouble.
They testified that my sons were not to blame. Ted and his mother turned pale and began to panic, telling the bystanders to shut up.
I see, Ted. I heard that my wife was mistreated a lot before. I would like to hear the rest at the police station.
Thus, Ted and his mother were put into two separate police cars and taken away. I found out later that my ex-father-in-law had dementia, so they wanted me to take care of him and get the alimony back from me. How selfish of them to track me down and try to get back with me with such a motive. I was speechless when I found out about it. I also learned that Ted had snooped around my house to check on me. With the help of my husband's brother, who is a lawyer, we filed a claim for compensation. If Ted tries anything again in the future, they will be dealt legally as a stalker. Nonetheless, Ted and his mother were scared of our sons, and on top of that, they also found out that my husband was a police officer, so it's not likely that they would try to do anything to me further. In any case, my husband signed up for a home security contract with a security company so that I would feel safe being alone in the house. I'm not comparing with my ex, but my husband is kind and wonderful. I'm grateful for the family I have now and will continue to live in peace. My name is Jasmine, and I recently celebrated my 45th birthday. I have been so focused on raising my children, and now that they are finally independent, I can finally take a break. Just when I thought I could finally have some time for myself, my husband told me that my parents-in-law's company was not doing well. They run a printing company, and my husband works there as a managing director. I wondered when the company had fallen into financial difficulties, and I felt bad that I had been a carefree housewife without knowing anything about it. So I have decided to help them until the business picked up. It was hard to learn an unfamiliar job, but my father-in-law taught me how to do it, and I was able to do the work myself.
I'm sorry that we have to ask for your help. I don't even know how it got to this point.
My father-in-law said, which made me want to be helpful to him. Every day from morning to night, I work frantically with him, and we're always busy with deliveries. I'm only helping him to rebuild his business, so I am unpaid. I have no complaints about that, and I have worked diligently every day. I was filled with a desire to support my father-in-law who was deeply in trouble. However, the harder I worked, the more I began to question my mother-in-law and my husband's work. My mother-in-law would sit at her desk and watch TV or reading magazines saying she had to answer the phone. She would go out to the beauty salon or spa, then go shopping, and often comes home with a big shopping bag. My husband, on the other hand, goes out every day for work, but he never seems to bring back any sales. At night, he comes home and talks with his mother instead of helping with the work. It seems that all the orders are taken by my father-in-law directly over the phone. While my father-in-law and I are running around like headless chicken, my husband and mother-in-law seem to be taking it easy. I asked my husband because it just seems too strange. Where do you go every day? I don't see you bringing back any sales with you. Your mother just sits around too. We are all working so hard and we don't even have time to eat lunch. So we could use a little help. My husband was furious.
Don't talk like you know so much when you just helped out a little. Making sales is not the only way to do business. Don't you understand that?
Don't talk like I know. But your father and I are working so hard.
Shut up. How hard do you work? Do you know that there are people working desperately hard in this world? Those who've stayed home all their lives are idiots. I can't stand them.
What? I worked so hard at home to raise our children. And even now, I'm working hard without a paycheck to help your father. You don't have to talk to me like that. I'm just asking for your help.
You can go ahead and say whatever you want. You ignorant idiot.
Then he left the house and went somewhere. It seems that my husband told this story to my mother-in-law. What do you mean, Jasmine? I don't do any work? It's not like that. I just want you to shut up. I have important work to do. What do you know? I'm not saying that you're not working. I'm just saying that I don't even have time to go to a beauty salon, and I'm helping my father-in-law. How dare you talk to your mother-in-law like that? Okay, just because you've learned to do a little bit of work, you want to kick me and my son out and take over the business. What? That is completely, I don't care about what you do or say. I tried to ask my husband for help, who is standing behind my mother-in-law's, but all he said was,
You have such a big mouth, but look in the mirror. You don't even look like a woman.
He laughed at me. I looked at my husband in disbelief. My mother-in-law also then said, You are embarrassing. You should pay a little more attention to your appearance like I do. And she laughed along with my husband. I had worked so hard to protect our home, and now I'm working recklessly to save my in-laws. I thought this was too much for me to handle. I heard something broke inside me that I have been holding back. I will never forgive these two. The next day, after my mother-in-law and husband went out as usual, I decided to take action. Bob, I have something to tell you. I need to talk to you. My father-in-law looked surprised at my serious face, but he listened to what I had to say. So I told him everything I had found out about my husband and mother-in-law. First, my husband. He has been going out for work every day and came back empty-handed. He is actually addicted to gambling and have been losing all along. He was managing our living expenses, but he had almost run out of money. He was also lured into a series of lucrative investment offers, and he put the company's money into investments, causing a big loss for the company. And then there is my mother-in-law. She spends all of her salary every month on beauty treatments. In addition to that, she was taking out company money to buy expensive bags that cost thousands of dollars. She was even cheating on him. The company's money spent by the two of them amounts to tens of thousands of dollars. Knowing that his wife and son had betrayed him, despite all his dedication and diligent work, my father-in-law seemed to have lost his strength.
Why? How did this happen? I've only been working diligently.
When my father-in-law burst into tears, I knew that I wanted to save him. Bob, can you forgive them? My father-in-law pondered for a while.
I can't forgive them for doing this to my father's precious company. But Jasmine, just because we know everything now, I've reached a point where I can't do anything about it anymore.
Leave it to me. Before I got married, I worked for a real estate company. I got married and dedicated myself to housework at my husband's request. But I secretly bought an investment property with my savings. It has gone up in value considerably. If I sell it, I can pay off the company's debt and still have some money left for its operation. At first, my father-in-law was reluctant to spend my money. Then he accepted my wish to help him because he meant so much to me. Finally, the day came. My father-in-law gathered everyone at the office.
So, Jasmine was able to save the company.
What kind of joke is this?
What? She saved the company? Did you get that kind of skills when you stopped being a woman? That's enough. Can you at least understand that you are not in a position to make fun of Jasmine?
My father-in-law yelled, and the two became silent.
Now I knew that I had made the right decision after all. Jasmine has paid off all the company's debts. From today, Jasmine is the president of this company. You two are fired. What are you talking about? Jasmine paying off the debt? There's no way she has that kind of money. I haven't given her barely any money since we got married. I don't remember raising you like that. You're the most horrible son ever.
My husband seemed confused by his father's anger.
It's just as I said. You two are fired. And I'm going to make you responsible for all your wasteful spending that caused the financial difficulties.
When my mother-in-law and husband heard this, their faces turned blue. That's where I come in. I had been investing with my saving from my single days. Unlike your lousy investment, I have been making steady profit. Thanks to that, I was able to save your father's company. Then I have also investigated all the expenses you have been spending, your mother's beauty treatments and brand goods, your stocks and unexplainable scam-like investments. The amount is summarized here for both. We have had a proper expert look at the calculations, so I won't accept disputes. You will have to repay all of them. Both of them are looking at the documents in shock. But this is not enough for what they did. My father-in-law and I each present a document. We are divorced as of today. Sign on the document.
Oh no, this is absurd. I told you that investment will pay off in a little while. Listen to me.
You've been with me my whole life. You wouldn't just throw me out, would you? No matter what you say, Bob and I will not change our minds. They were nagging for a while, but since all of their respective misdeeds had come to light, they also had to agree to the divorce. We also sold the house my husband and I were living in, and we recollected the money as part of the debt repayment. My mother-in-law and ex-husband, who lost their company and house, have rented a small apartment. We have an official documentation of the debt to the company, so they can't run away from it. They have been procrastinating all their lives, but now on they will be forced to work and repay the debt together. As for my ex-father-in-law and I, the company has been able to pay off its debts, and it's doing great with many orders coming in daily. New employees have joined our team, and I finally have some time for myself. I'm going to do my best to protect my new family of employees from now on.